Hello, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start a discussion of or regarding pharmacology and venipuncture. So, if ever kung may GC, paki-up na lang para ma-send ko later yung PDF copy. Magbibigay naman ako ng PDF copy ng lecture natin. So, now, more on, we have to talk about the drug nomenclature. So, in drug, pag narinig natin yung word na drug, ang unang pumapasok talaga sa isip natin is more on addictive, nakakapag-hallucinate, etc. Pero kailangan natin matanggal yung meaning na drug sa na hindi ganon negatively. So, yung drug usually dapat kasi it is more on medicine, ganyan. So, first, we have to talk about pharmacology. So, pharmacology deals with the mechanism of action, naturally occurring mediator, and drug at level of the whole organism. So, yung pharmacology, it is the study of drugs in living system. So, dito, it can be, since nga it can be defined the study of substances that interact with living system through chemical process. So, especially pag yung binding to a regulatory molecules and activating or inhibiting normal body process. So, this substance may be chemically administered to the patient para makatulong for treatment, diagnosing, or prevention. So, since it encompasses the understanding of all medication effect, whether the diagnostic, since nga it can be therapeutic or adverse, yung drug is kailangan siya makontrol to control or cure and disorder. So, meron tayong tinatawag na medical pharmacology. So, dito, it defined as the science of substance used to prevent, diagnose, and treat disease. So, since nga yung branch ng pharmacology regarding sa medical is nakakatulong siya para maiwasan or hindi na lumala yung kahit anong sakit, para malaman kung ano yung sakit, and also para ma-treat or ma-cure yung sakit na nalaman dun sa isang pasyente. So, it focuses on how drugs interact with the human body and how they are applied safely and effectively in the clinical practice. Then, so, syempre, nandyan na yung mag-prevent, mag-diagnose, and mag-treat. Papasok naman si toxicology. Si toxicology, this is science of determining health risk from exposure to chemicals. So, this is also a branch of pharmacology that deals with undesirable effect of chemicals on living system. So, from individual cell, so since nga medyo complex po ang human body natin, si toxicology is a must to know. Bakit? Since undesirable. Pag sinabi nating undesirable effect is, yan po is harmful effect nung mismong chemicals doon po sa living organism. So, since it is focuses on identifying the toxic substance, understanding how they are cause injury, and determining if it is safe exposure level. So, in healthcare, yung toxicology helps professional recognize, prevent, and yung i-manage po yung mismong drug toxicity or poison. Then, ano pa bang ano natin dito? Meron tayong isang philosopher na sinabi na yung fundamental concept of toxicology is the dose. The dose makes the poison. So, ang nagsabi po niyan is si Paracelsus. It means na yung any substance can be toxic at a high enough dose. Kaya nga po, 'di ba, yung iba pag masyadong mataas yung dose na hospital. Kasi ang tawag doon, no, overdose. Kasi may certain amount lang yung body natin na kayang matake certain dose depende doon sa gamot na ini-intake. Then, syempre, it can affect, pwedeng by injection or systematic by the whole body. Yun yung ano natin dyan. Syempre, ano ba yung mga sign ng overdose? Nausea, vomiting, dizziness, shortness of breath, that's common ha. Hypotension, pwede din skin reaction kasi na-allergic siya dun sa gamot, or mga organ dysfunction. So, ayun yung kay toxicology. So, ayan, alam na natin yung meaning ng pharmacology and toxicology. That's the only important thing para malaman natin kung saan ginagamit or kung ano yung possible effect or substance na nakakatulong mag-prevent, mag-diagnose, and mag-treat. But also, ang kabaliktaran nun is the toxicology. Kailangan din natin silang malaman. So now, before we have to go to the topic of drug nomenclature, unahin po muna natin ang history ng pharmacology. So, sa history ng pharmacology, lagi pong number 1 si Hippocrates, which is 430 to 375 BC. He was the father of medicine. He was a great physician, considered the father of medicine, and he was the first person who recognized disease as abnormal reaction of the body. So, si Hippocrates, ang inaano niya, syempre, ang ano natin kay Hippocrates, 'di ba siya din yung nag-lead sa Hippocratic Oath? Na ang ano natin dyan is he introduced the use of metallic salt for treatment ng disease, and the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm. So, yun naman yung parang sa ethical standards natin. And then, we have, ano pa ba yung sa basta tandaan natin, si Hippocrates, he leads to Hippocratic Oath. na to do no harm. Since nga Hippocrates was considered father of medicine, it outlined the fundamentals of moral principle and also guide yung healthcare professional in the practice of medicine. So dito, originally, it is written for physician. Its values are applied to all healthcare workers. So kasama po tayo doon. Also including us as the radiologic technology to do no harm. Siyempre, sino naman kasi ang tech or healthcare worker ang gustong masaktan yung pasyente? So, pag medyo ganon, hindi na po natin nagagawa ang Hippocratic Oath. Pag iba na yung naiisip natin. Okay? So guys, pag may mga tanong kayo, chat kayo sa chat box ha. Then we have Theopratus. So, si Theopratus naman, 380 to 287 BC, he was the father of pharmacognosis. So, he was a great philosopher. He classified medicinal plants on the base of medical characteristics. So, dito, si Theopratus, since philosopher siya and also a scientist, student siya ni Aristotle. So, he study medicinal drugs obtained from natural sources. Ano ba yung mga natural sources natin? Plants. He was one of the earliest scholar to systematically study plants and medicinal properties. Instead na hindi na nagre-rely doon sa haka-haka, paniniwala, superstition, myth. Hindi na sila naniniwala or hindi na nila ginagamit noon. Hindi na sila nagre-rely doon. Ngayon, ang ginawa ni Theopratus, kumuha siya ng maraming herbs, maraming plants, and doon siya nag-start ng careful observation and clarification ng mga plants na yon, kung alin yung pwedeng gumana or magamit nila para mag-heal ng wounds or kung anumang diseases. Then we have next is Dioscorides, AD 57. So a Greek produced one of the first Matertia Medica of approximately 500 plants ang ginamit niya and remedies. So, he is best known for pagsusulat or he wrote the De Matertia Medica. So, dito, it is a influential 5-volume, para siyang encyclopedia, na nandun po nakalista yung mga herbal medicine, and some pharmacology. So, ayan yung kay Dioscorides. And then, next, we have Claudius Galen, 129 to 200 AD. So, first attempted to consider the theoretical background of pharmacology, which is commonly known as Galen of Pergamon. So, dito, Galen of Pergamon was Claudius Galen, Greek physician, physician, also surgeon, also a philosopher who made major contribution to medicine and pharmacology. So, he expanded yung teaching of Hippocrates. So, dito, he became one of the most influential medical figures in the history. Kasi si Galen believed in a careful observation and logical reasoning na nag-e-emphasize yung pagkakaintindi kung paano yung body, how the body works to guide treatment. So, ito yung yan yung ni Galen. And then we have Paracelsus. Paracelsus, ayan yung sinabi ko kanina, which is he stated that the dose makes the poison. So, he is a Swiss scholar and alchemist. Often considered as the grandfather of the pharmacology. So, he introduced the use of chemicals for treatment of disease. And then, natin dyan? Next natin is we have Valerius Cordus, which is, he compiled the first pharmacopoeia. So, where dito, he described yung mga techniques for preparation ng drugs, and also he is one of author of the first comprehensive pharmacopoeia. Ang titled is Dispensatorium. So, pag sinabi natin pharmacopoeia, ito po is para siyang book, reference book, na lahat ng official or legally recognized na standard of drugs and medicinal preparations, nandyan siya lahat. And also, dyan nakaspecify how the drug should be identified, prepared, lagyan natin dito. Identified, prepared, stored, tested, and administered. So, ayan yung sa pharmacopoeia. So, para siyang reference book na nandyan lahat yung type ng gamot. Then, we have François Magendie. Sorry sa pronunciation, So, in 1783 to 1855, he was a French physicist, French scientist who studied nerve function and digestive system. And then since he also played a crucial role in developing modern pharmacology and experimental medicine. He strongly believed na yung medical knowledge should be based on scientific experimentation rather than theory or tradition. So, ayan, since he discovered the different roles of anterior and posterior root of the nerves. So, ayan, pag sinabi natin anterior or ventral roots of the spinal nerves, which is, yan yung responsible for motor function. While, anong kabaligtaran ni anterior? We have posterior, which is dorsal. Dorsal roots, spinal nerve. So, dito, responsible naman yan for sensory function. So, ayan yung kay Francois Magendie. So, ayan. And then we have, next is Rudolf Boeckheim. So, I'm so sorry for the pronunciation. So, in 1820 to 1879, he was a German pharmacologist. So, ang ano naman niya ay figure in development of the modern pharmacology. So, he is widely recognized for creating the first pharmacological institute at University of Dorpat. So, dito, he believed also that the pharmacology should be based on experimentation. Hindi lang po sa tradition or hindi din sa clinical observation. So, yan yung ano. And also, he focused on toxicology and pharmacology. Tapos, ginagawa niya yun, he introduced controlled laboratory experiments in drug research. Yan yung kay Rudolf Boeckheim. Then, next is we have Friedrich Sauterner. So, si Friedrich Sauterner, he was also a German, but he is a pharmacist assistant na who made groundbreaking contribution in pharmacology during his era. Kasi he was the first to isolate morphine. So, yung morphine po is ginagamit po yan as a pain reliever. So, dito nalaman nila na si morphine is meron siyang active ingredient of opium. And then, so, making it is a first pure drug ever extracted from a natural source. So, since nga ang ano yan is dito, na isolate niya nga yung morphine, and then ano pa bang malalagay natin dyan? Yung ano naman dito is prove that yung drugs could be purified and studied scientifically. Meron din siyang, yung morphine is considered or became the first isolated alkaloid, which is a chemical na ginamit nila. Then, next is we have Claude Bernard in 1813 to 1878, considered as the father of experimental medicine. So, he identifies the site of action of Curer. Pag sinabi natin Curer, this is a arrow poisoning. So, ayan. So, he figured out na yung how a poison can be curer, often used as a arrow. Kasi diba dati, before, ang ginagamit natin is arrow, and then dun sa arrow, naglalagay sila ng poison. So, yung poison na yon naka-attach dun sa arrow, curer na yung tawag. So, pag nakatama siya ng tao, it makes the person paralyzed. So, he discovered that the curer caused paralysis by affecting the muscles and nerve. His findings were crucial in understanding how certain substances can impact our body function and lying on the fundamental of experimental medicine. And then, next we have we have Oswald Schermendeberg. So, sorry for the pronunciation. So, dito, he established pharmacology as independent discipline. So, he started teaching pharmacology in the University of Strasbourg in France. But he was a German pharmacologist. Then he is considered or was considered as father of pharmacology, who made significant contribution to this field. So particularly the study of drug action and their effects on the body. And then we have it's John Jacob Abel, 1859 to 1938. So, he founded the first department of pharmacology in USA. So, he also one of the co-founded the Journal of Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutic. So, ayan. He is one of the contributors contributors the development of insulin and isolation of adrenaline. So, si insulin, yan po yung hormones na nire-release ng pancreas, which is yung insulin it plays a vital role para ma-regulate po yung blood glucose level or blood sugar sa katawan. So, if ever nag-spike na yung giging insulin resistance na po yung pasyente, ibig sabihin hindi na po kaya ng pancreas mag-release ng enough insulin to fight the glucose level in the body. Ayan yung nagkakaroon ng diabetes. So, ayan. He is one of the contributor nun. Then, we have, next is the drug itself. So, may mga questions po ba kayo regarding the history, yung meaning ng pharmacology or toxicology? Paki-type if you have questions. Meron ba? May mga question ba kayo? Para baka mamaya masyadong mabilis. Para i-explain ko na lang ulit ang hindi naintindihan. Meron ba, guys? Paki-chat sa chat box if you have questions. Ayan, thank you. None so far. So, as par na wala naman kayong question, tuloy lang tayo ng discussion, guys, ha? So, now is more on the drugs. So, si drugs is a substance that change person's mental or physical state. So, dito, pag sinabi natin yung definition mismo ng drug, it is pag sinabi natin drugs, meron po yung chemical substance. Which is that chemical substance that affect or alter physiology when taken into a living system. So, they can be either or natural or synthetic. So, any chemical that affects the process of living organism. Kasi, since nga, ang drugs ay kaya niyang i-alter. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Kunwari, may masakit. Hindi mo makaya ng sakit. Bibigyan ka ng pain reliever, which is in the form of drug. So, etong si drug, since nga masakit siya, pag na-take mo na siya, it depends on the type of drug. It can be pwedeng 30 minutes, mawawala na yung sakit. Ayan. So, it can alter. Una, hindi mo na mararamdaman after 30 minutes yung sakit. Kunyari, nabunutan ka ng ngipin. Pain reliever. After 30 minutes, pag intake mo, hindi mo na nararamdaman yung sakit. Kasi ina-alter niya yung sending ng signals or ng nerve signals sa brain mo na hindi na masakit. So, parang ano siya, mas nagpo-force chemically process na hindi na siya masakit. But, kaya nga tayo merong iti-take mo yung gamot, it's either every 4 hours, 6, 8, 12, so on. Kasi, may mga gamot po na after 4 hours, hindi na po ume-epekto. Kaya kailangan nyo mag-take ulit. Either 4, 6, 8, or 12. Kasi parang nawo-burn off na po yung epekto ng gamot. So, ganun yung sa drugs. Kaya it's either affect or alter the physiology or the nerve signals na natatake nung isang pasyente. So, ayan yung mga form naman ng drugs natin. Then, meron siyang, drugs is commonly low atomic mass and molecular mass structure. And then, when a drug is a therapeutically active and used for diagnosis, treatment, or prevention, tawag po natin doon is medicine. Okay? This is very legal. Ulitin natin. If the drug is made for prevention, diagnosis, cure, treatment, medicine siya or medical pharmacology. Yan, dyan papasok yon. So, ang ano natin dyan, since nga parang pag nakainom ng gamot si patient, chemically substance yon, tina-target niya yung macromolecules inside the body, which is generate a biological response. Most of them interact with the nervous system. So, especially the brain. Kaya nga siya ina-alter or nagkaka-affect kasi nagbibigay siya ng signal sa brain na hindi na masakit tong part na to. Parang ganon. And then, now, you have to talk about the drug nomenclature. So, a drug has a name given to it before it become available for use. So, this name include chemical name, generic name, or trade name. So, most healthcare workers and general public are familiar po with generic and brand name. So, other names are usually or primarily search, research, and manufacturing. Ginagamit siya doon. And because of the other length, dito po in the Philippines and I think in US, meron din silang FDA. Food and Drug Administration. So this one is a federal agency responsible for protecting the public against the fraud claims by manufacturer or merchant of food or drugs. So allows the name to be shortened or easy to memorize. So dito, kailangan po approve muna ni FDA bago natin makain yung isang certain food, matake natin yung certain na gamot. Kasi pag hindi pumasa sa kanila, ibig sabihin, it's either pag sa gamot is baka mamaya sobrang madaming side effect. Or hindi, katulad ng, to be honest, yung gluta na IV. May mga gluta drip na hindi FDA approved. Kasi ang ginagamit nila is for whitening. But that whitening is just an side effect. Side effect lang po siya. Kasi usually, ang nagluta is mas nagbe-benefit po dyan yung may mga liver disease, cancer, etc. Pero hindi siya advisable sa mga healthy person kasi tataas lang po yung vitamin B nyo. Vitamin B is parang nakakasira din siya ng kidneys. Kaya ang sabi ng mga doctors na kakilala ko, much better nang okay lang yung pahid-pahid, pero pag intravenous, hindi po siya maganda. Okay? Kailangan FDA approved pa rin palagi. So now, meron tayong drug have 3 different name: chemical name, non-proprietary name, and proprietary name. So, si chemical name, ito siya. It is name given to a drug. Name given to a drug accordance with the rules of chemical nomenclature by International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Then, ang ano natin sa chemical name, so this describe the chemical structure. So, meron tayong example is parang acetylsalicylic acid. This is chemical name. Ang ano niyan, equivalent niyan sa generic name is aspirin. This is pain reliever. So, a chemical name is a given when a new chemical is developed. So, it follows standards of chemical naming convention. Wait lang guys. Yan, sorry for that. So, a chemical name is a parang set by organization or yung mga useful, very useful yan sa mga chemist, mga technical personnel na nagpro-provide ng mga precise arrangement ng atom, molecule, or kung ano man yung makikita na lang chemical bonding doon sa mismong gamot. So, it is not used to identify the drug in the market. Hindi siya ginagamit. So, this name is usually long. Nakikita nyo naman, long, complex, and ginagamit po sila ng scientists and researchers. Then we have the non-proprietary name. This is the name accepted by competent scientific body. So, this one ay sinasabi po natin as the generic name. Ayan, generic name po siya. So, commonly termed generic name, then usually short name given to a drug, and then should always be concise and meaningful. So, dito, ang ano natin, the official name assigned to a drug, ayan yung generic name. Then, it is usually uniform throughout the world. Yan yung ginagamit natin all throughout, generic name. Denotes an active pharmaceutical ingredients doon. Ibig sabihin, same lang siya ng content. Parang ganon, same content, generic name. Ideally, yung generic name should be used in prescription because hindi lahat is available with the brand or mas mahal ang brand, may brand name. So, this one is universally recognized, used across different brands. Generic name is simpler than chemical names. Then, ano bang example natin dito? We have example ng example natin is eto. Chemical name is ano ba yun? Acetamide. Tapos, generic name is paracetamol. Or other term nito is acetaminophen. Baka mas familiar sa inyo to. Generic name niya is paracetamol. So, ano ba yung mga paracetamol brand natin? Pag brand name natin, Bijasic. So, ayan. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. So, that is the chemical name. Generic name, paracetamol. Brand name, Bijasic. Okay, gets ba? Then, we have, may class pala, yung non-proprietary. So, we have approved names, which is, this is given to a drug by the USAN or United States Adopted Name, and BAN, which is British Approved Name. Generic name pa rin naman yan. Then, we have official names, which is the name approved by the National Pharmacopoeia Commission. So, this one is sometimes referred also as genetic name. Ang medyo may pagkakaiba lang kasi this one is designated for chemical or pharmacological class of drugs. And also, pag official name, nandyan po yung mga nasa book Nasa libro po siya, officially identical with the approved name. Identical siya with approved name dapat. Then we have proprietary name. So, proprietary name, ayun na yung matagal ko ng kaninang sinasabi, the brand name. This is the name given by the drug manufacturer. So, it is the name given by the pharmacological firm, manufacturer, company, the brand name or sinasabi ding trade name. So, the name is given to a drug by a pharmacological company para po sa marketing purposes. So, dito, ang brand name is designed to be catchy, short, and easy to remember. Ayan yung mga natin for the brand name. So, ayan. Give again an example. So, acetyl salicylic acid, aspirin, Disprin, Ecosprin, baka US to. Then we have acetaminophenol, paracetamol, Calpol lang yung alam kong common dito. So, Biogesic. Ayan yung difference ng chemical name, ng generic name, and then the brand name or trade name. So, naintindihan ba yung tatlo? Difference ng chemical, generic, and trade or brand name? Naintindihan ba yon? May question ba doon? Okay, naintindihan naman. Easy to explain, hindi ko na siya ipapakomplex para mas madali nyo maintindihan. And now, syempre, pinag-usapan natin yung gamot, hindi po pwedeng wala kayong reseta or walang prescription na galing sa doktor. So may tinatawag na legend drugs. Ang legend drugs, this is medication that require a prescription. So, legend drugs po yung tawag po doon. Kasi hindi po lahat ng drugs is you cannot buy it over the counter. So, now, these are the valid prescription or order for a drug includes at least of the following. So, mali yung numbering ko. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Magdadagdag tayo ng isa. So, syempre, yung prescription, it should have the patient's name, if naka-admit, room number, address, identification number, the drug name, the dosage. So, dito dapat nakalagay siya in proper unit of measurement for particular drugs. So, sa drug name naman, it can be generic or brand name. Then, dagdag natin dito, pang number, dapat yan, dosage form. Kung syrup, so naka-tablet, etc. Tapos, route of administration, if it is oral, parenteral, rectal, and then, syempre, date, kung kailan nabigay yung prescription. And then, physician signature. Kasi, yung prescription or order for a medication, that is considered legal document, admissible in a court of law. So, at important note, consideration that is very verbal or order does not necessarily constitute a valid prescription, meaning hindi natin mabibigay yung isang gamot unless may prescription galing sa doctor. Okay? Then, so meron na tayong yung names ng drugs, prescription, and now we have to talk about the controlled substances. So, this is a regulated drug due to its potential for abuse, risk to the public health. So, pag sinabing controlled, kailangan po kinokontrol to kasi may tendency if the user is nag-abuse niya yung gamit for this one, it can cause addiction. So, these drugs and medication are regulated by the government authorities due to their potential for abuse, addiction, and risk to the public. So, ayan, meron tayong tinatawag na controlled scheduled. So, medication that have high potential for abuse are generally placed in a 5 controlled substance. So, yung drugs of this nature, usually narcotic, pain relievers, yan yung mga possible. Pero madami pa. So, yung mga all controlled substance have a stamp placed on the outside of the container. Pag sa US, medyo mas strict sila. Lalo na pag walang prescription, hindi talaga sila magbibigay. Example niyan, may na-encounter ako before. Since, di ba, I was a CRT, also, I tried to handle na din yung buong clinic. So, meron patient na nag-raise ng concern kasi wala na siyang makuwang schedule sa psych niya, sa psych doctor. And then, ilang beses na siya na-deck sa GP o sa general practitioner or kaya sa IM, internal medicine, which is that GP and IM, once lang sila pwedeng magbigay. Kasi hindi sila yung specialist for that case. So, yung patient, parang nakikitaan na nila lang parang nagde-depend na doon sa gamot. So, parang lagi siya nagre-request kung pwede siyang mabigyan ng prescription ng ganitong gamot, etc. So, kinausap ko yung doktor na dalawa since nga nung sa part ko kasi hindi lang rad yung na-handle ko, almost na-handle ko din yung buong clinic. So, I informed the 2 doctors that hindi tayo pwedeng magbigay ng prescription since mas maganda makita siya ng psych. Kasi may potential abuse na siya or addiction doon siya sa gamot. Then, I already talked then naman to the patient and explained the scenario as the incident na hindi na pwedeng magbigay ng prescription yung IM and general practitioner physician kasi mas magandang makita muna siya ng psychiatrist niya. So, ayun, as far as it goes, I talked to the psych. Then, sinabi ko na pinakita ko yung prescription niya, which is, sabi naman nung psych, bibigyan niya na for another 1 month, then dapat makita na siya. Hindi pwedeng ibang doktor yung magbigay. So, may mga ganong cases talaga na hindi natin pwedeng hayaan yung pasyente umasa or magdepende doon sa gamot. Yun yung mga possibility. Kaya meron tayong controlled substance. So, we have first the C1. So, si C1, the drug have a high potential for abuse, no medical uses for treatment. So, example nito, ecstasy, heroin, LSD, marijuana, PCP. And we have C2, high potential for abuse, has accepted medical use for treatment. We have morphine, oxycodone, methamphetamine, and for C3, less abuse potential than C2, accepted medical use, anabolic steroids, hydrocodone, and for C4, less abuse potential than C3, accepted for medical use. We have Valium, Xanax, Darvon, Pentermine, and C5, less abuse potential than C4, accepted medical use. This is the CAP medicine with codeine. So, isa-isahin natin. So, di ba, si controlled substance, may 5 yan. Ito yung scheduled na sinasabi. So, 1 is the highest, the most kasi potential for abuse or addiction. So, meron tayong ecstasy. So, this is a drug that change feelings and perception. So, dito, ginagamit po yan sa mga madalas sa party. It can be harmful and illegal in many places. Then we have heroin, also a highly addictive drug na made of morphine. So, dito, parang pag na-abuse yan, it can cause serious health problem. Then we have LSD, lysergic acid diethylamide. So also a powerful drug that makes people see and feel things na hindi totoo. Nag-hallucinate na. Yan yung mga possible. So it is illegal. And then we have marijuana. I think ano yan, na-heard niyan, familiar naman na. Cannabis. So a plant used for fun or medicine in some places. So in some places like US, I think Thailand, it is legal but in moderation. Kailangan ng prescription yan. But here in the Philippines, it's very illegal to use marijuana or cannabis. Yan. And then PCP, PCP is penicillin. So this one can make people hallucinate and lost touch with reality. So dito, illegal din po siya. Then we have morphine. Morphine is a strong medicine for pain. So pain reliever. Mga serious pain po yan. Then oxycodone, also a powerful painkiller prescribed for moderate to severe. And then we have methamphetamine is a boost. Nagbo-boost siya ng energy. So, bakit itong dalawang to is highly abusive? Then, because may mga taong dahil nasaktan, masakit sa kanila, feeling nila numb na sila, the more they feel numb, the more na mas okay sila. Kasi wala silang nararamdaman. Ganun yung use nun. Mas okay sa kanila na wala nang maramdaman, lalo na kung medyo hurtful, trauma sila doon sa nangyari. Kaya nagiging highly abusive yan. Then we have anabolic steroid. So yung steroid na overuse din yan kasi some people use this drug to build muscle, lalo na sa mga competition. So, but it's very risky and not meant for regular use. Kasi may mga steroids na ginagamit para mag-subside yung allergic reaction pag hindi gumagana yung antihistamine. Ginagamitan ng steroids. Pero yung sa mga bodybuilding, ayan, kaya na-disqualified yung mga contestant na nalalaman nila they use steroids kasi it's just parang force yung muscle mo to be firm. Parang ganon. Then we have hydrocodone, also a pain reliever medicine. It should be prescribed also by the doctor. Then we have Valium. It helps to calm the nerves and treat pressed form of sa capsule yun, sorry. And then powdered, ito ay medication in a loose pero dry form. Then we have lozenges. Again, ito yung parang candy. It's slowly dissolved in your mouth. And then effervescent tablet. This one should be dissolved in water. So, para siya may fuzzy or fizzy solution for consumption. Nagbabubbles-bubbles pa, parang ganon. That is for the solid dosage form. And now, syempre, kabaliktaran ni solid, we have liquid. So, for the liquid form, oral administration may be easier to swallow, especially for certain patient population. Pag sobrang tanda na, and also pag sobrang baby, mga makukulit na bata, ganyan. Mas maganda sa kanila, liquid form. So, ano yung mga example natin dito? We have solutions, suspensions, syrup, elixir. So, dito, si solution, since this is dissolved in liquid form, then suspension, parang siyang may solid particles pero nagdi-disperse siya. But not completely dissolved in liquid. Then we have the syrup, which is dissolved in a sweet. Matatamis-tamis na yan, mga pang pwede pang bata, pero usually yung mga yung mga tempra, ganyan, like still taste like medicine pa rin, ganon. Pero at least kaysa mahirapan naman yung parents is should be asked for the syrup as well na lang. Then elixir, ito po is para siyang parang liquid medication, liquid yung nasa loob, tapos para siyang may sweetener. Parang maliit na parang siyang capsule pero liquid yung nasa loob. Yung sa capsule naman kasi, gelatin yung nasa labas pero dry yung nasa loob. Ganun yung solid. Ang pinagkaiba sa elixir, parang siyang may gelatin or sweetener sa labas. Pero yung nasa loob, liquid. Parang ganon. Then, we have inhalation. So, this one, administered by inhalation into respiratory system, commonly used for respiratory medication. Ang mga example po, this one is inhaler, gas, ano pa yung mga gas natin? Nebulizer. So, sa inhaler, device siya that delivers amount of medication in aerosol form. Commonly used for respiratory conditions. The nebulizer device that turn liquid into fine mist, allowing to be inhaled in the lungs. And then yung individual, lalo na who have difficulty using the inhaler. Pag hindi na nag-e-effect yung inhaler, nebulizer na po. Pag yung mga pasyenteng may hika, so pag hindi na po kaya ng inhaler nila, nagne-nebulize na. Then we have semi-solid dosage form. So applied topically to the skin or mucous membrane, often used for dermatological and transdermal drug delivery. Example nito is creams, ointment, gels, patches. So sa creams, usually this is topical application containing water and oil. Alam niyo naman siguro yung creams, di ba? Parang white material, pero water and oil siya. Pag ointment, ito masyado siyang thick. Then, greasy substance for topical use. Providing para siyang nagkakaroon din ng barrier sa skin. Pinapahid pa rin siya. Then we have gels. Ito naman, also semi-solid, contains high amount of water. Medyo watery na yung gel na to. And then patches, ito po is yung mga adhesive or dinidikit. Adhesive back materials that deliver medication through skin over an extended period. So, yun, mga dinidikit lang siya. And then we have parenteral. So, this is administered by injection or bypassing the gastrointestinal tract, provides rapid and direct delivery into the bloodstream. So, ano ba yung mga form neto? Or example, we have intravenous or IV, then intramuscular, IM, then subcutaneous, SC. So, ano natin dito, since parenteral, it should be the administration for medication na introducing into the body, sa loob ng body. Then, this dosage form catheter the different routes of administration and the patient need. So, yung choice of specific dosage form depends po on the factor kung ano yung kailangan din. So, ayan, example natin, if it can be related sa RAD department, yung mga contrast media study. Kasi sa contrast media study, lalo na pag triple contrast, pag sinabing triple contrast, it can be in IV, oral, or rectal. So, yung form naman po ng gamot is liquid. So, yung liquid na contrast media, una, pwede siyang ihalo sa water. Tapos, papainumin yung drinking water ha. May certain dosage yun, depende sa weight ng patient. Tapos, papainom kay patient. And then, pag nainom na ni patient, bago mag-start yung procedure, it can be administered rectally. So, yung liquid contrast solution is hinahalo siya sa water. Also, may certain dose of contrast pa rin para ihalo sa water. And then, it can be administered rectally. And lastly, pag ongoing na, nakapag-plain ka na, yan, pwede nang bigyan si patient ng intravenous. Dito po, pure solution na ng contrast media ang binibigay. Nagpo-push lang tayo ng NSS para malaman natin kung parang smooth yung line ng insight. So, ayun yung topic natin for now. So, na-discuss natin yung pharmacology, yung meaning, toxicology, history of pharmacology, tapos drug nomenclatures, if it is chemical name, trade name or brand name, and generic name. Also, the legal prescription, the controlled substance, and the dosage form, kung ano yung form ng gamot. So, do you have any questions, clarifications na kailangan yung mas maintindihan to that certain part of the discussion? Do you have any question, guys? The floor is yours, guys. Nans po. Ayan. Sure ba yung nan na yan? Wala talagang questions? Okay, if ever naman, if you have questions, you can message me naman para mas specific ko masagot yung question nyo, ha? Okay, so until dito muna yung discussion natin. So guys, next week po, quiz po tayo. Okay, until parenteral. And paki-up na lang yung message, GC natin para ma-send ko po sa inyo yung copy ng PDF natin na diniscuss natin for today. Okay? Okay, so far, ang ano natin, may mga guys from school ba na uuwi? Para malaman natin kung ano yung mas gusto no before the discussion or after the discussion yung quiz. But don't worry, the discussion na natin next week hindi kasama yung doon. Kung ano lang yung na-discuss natin today. So, anong mas gusto nyo? Before or after the discussion? Para ma-set natin. Usually, pag magbibigay ako ng quiz, siguro until 4:10, kung before. If may mga like lecture or class pa kayo, you can take the quiz sa school. Naka-online naman tayo, naka-orange up naman tayo. So, ayan, inform nyo na lang ako if ano yung mas better sa inyo, ha? Okay? So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Until next week na lang ulit. So, ingat sa mga uuwi and thank you, guys.